We're going to use the policy editor to limit the ability to start specific EC2 instances. And we can begin this by first selecting the EC2 service in the first step of the policy editor. After that, we can select the type of actions, and in this case I'm going to select list and read. Now you'll notice that you can expand each of these sections, which reveals all of the privileges that make up that particular setting. Now for write, we want the ability to limit the policy so that only certain actions are possible. So specifically starting, stopping, running, and terminating in EC2 instances. And obviously you can adjust according to your rules or regulations. Now that said, something to keep in mind here, since there's so many of these settings that make up this group, they are sorted in alphabetical order. So in our case, what we want to do is we want to apply these settings over here. The run instance, the run scheduled instance won't hurt. Stop, start, and terminate. So once we've set these up, we now have a write condition where only these settings apply. So with the actions out of the way, the next step is going to be for us to define the resources that this policy is going to apply to. Now that section is going to be located just beneath this one. So there's the resources section right there. So in this case, we'll go ahead and apply all of these settings to all of these instances, the placement group, the security group, all of this looks fine. So we'll just go ahead and select all of this, and we'll limit the capability to start instances in the following section. So here we'll use the request conditions section to limit which type of instance can be started. In this case, we're going to define the EC2 instance as our conditional key. And when this conditional key is matched, this policy is applied. So we'll use a string-like comparator to basically apply this policy to, and we can use wildcards. So with all of that information, we can indicate a t2.star, which basically means any instances that fall under this category. So in review, what we're doing here is we're creating a policy that will limit the ability of the users to start EC2 instances. They'll only be able to start an EC2 instance when they're starting a T2. And when this policy is applied to a user group or role, the EC2 instance being started will be inspected, and if it matches that conditional policy, meaning it matches the value of any T2 type instance that falls into that category and is matched, this action is going to be allowed. So our final step is going to be to give it a name. So I'm just going to go ahead and get real creative here and call it limit underscore T2 underscore start, and then I'll give it a description, and then create the actual policy. We now assign the policy to a group so that everyone which belongs in it will inherit these new permissions. And in this case, we're going to apply it to the dev group. So we can do this by selecting permissions and attaching the policy that we just created. We can actually type in the name and then assign it like so. So that's it. That's how we can limit the starting capability of the developers. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this. If you have any feedback, please leave a comment. Let me know.